Hello, I'm Andy Hargreaves. I'm an endowed chair at Boston College in the United States and a visiting professor at the University of Ottawa in Canada, where I now live with my family and close to my grandchildren just round the corner. It's great to have an opportunity to spend a few minutes with you on World Teachers' Day internationally and on your own professional development day focused on teacher leadership and teacher learning. I know one of your themes, like one of the themes of International World Teachers' Day, is that of teacher empowerment. A very important theme, one to which we need to pay a great deal of attention, and that's often been neglected. A couple of years ago, less than a couple of years ago, the United Nations commissioned six papers to inform an international commission that they brought together of 17 former ministers and union leaders to look at the future of the teaching profession. They felt, and I think many of us still feel, that there was and is a crisis of teacher recruitment, teacher retention, and beneath that, in many ways, a crisis of teacher engagement too. I wrote one of the expert papers for that commission, which you can find online, called The Future of the Teaching Profession. And the other papers talked about many important things about what we need to do to support teachers, to make teachers want to come into teaching and to make people want to stay in teaching. The other reports talked about pay and the need to increase pay to at least a satisfactory level so people didn't have to worry about their homes and their families. The other papers also talked about the importance of status and teachers being given more dignity and regard in the community, in the media, in politics. And we also talked about, or the other papers talked about things like workload, and class sizes, the things that create pressure and stress for teachers sometimes and make it hard to do the job. All these things matter, all these things are significant, but there's something else as well that I really wanted to draw attention to. And that is, if we want to bring people into teaching and keep people in teaching, we have to change how the job feels. The job has to feel less like a burden and more like an opportunity, less like a set of tasks that have to be completed, and more like a set of inspiring engagements with the young people to help them learn and be well over time. I was asked to write this expert paper because I've spent the better part of 30 odd years being with teachers, being a teacher, looking at teachers, understanding teachers, researching teachers and teaching, and writing about teachers. Perhaps the first book I really did that paid attention to this in the 1990s was a book called Changing Teachers, Changing Times, that I'm now in the middle of rewriting under the title Changing Teachers for Challenging Times. And part of what informs the new book is work that Range and my colleagues and I did around 20 years ago on the emotions of teaching. We interviewed around 50 teachers looking at what creates positive emotion in teaching and for teachers, and what creates negative emotion in teaching and for teachers. And I want to spend these few minutes with you just talking about three things that came out of that study. The first is, if you want positive emotion in teaching, you need teachers to feel that they are fulfilling the purposes that are important to them and to their students, and that they have autonomy in how they pursue those purposes. So it's fairly simple, but this gives teachers a sense of what Martin Seligman, the psychologist, talks about, a sense of fulfillment or a feeling of completing one's purposes that matter and that have value, and being able to fulfill those purposes. We found that teachers have negative emotion when things get in the way of their purposes. The classes are too big, the numbers are too many, the work is overloaded. When the purpose is someone else's purposes, not their own, perhaps they're teaching things that they are required to teach, things they feel are not really important and that their students don't really feel are important to learn, or the purposes are fragmented. There's too many initiatives, people are flying off in too many directions. So one of the things to look at to create more engagement in teaching is really to pay attention to teachers' individual and collective senses of purpose with their students. The second is relationships. Teachers feel fulfilled and feel engaged when they have good relationships with their students. The students aren't behaving badly all the time. Of course, all students behave badly some of the time, but mainly, a great student knows that their teacher loves them and cares about them, and doesn't give up on them, even when they're being a bit naughty and a little bit difficult. So good relationships with the students matter. Good relationships with the parents matter too, that parents feel they're not kept at a distance, but they feel they're involved in their children's learning and schooling, because after all, parents are their children's first educators. And critically, of course, good relationships with colleagues and with leaders, with administrators, that you don't feel you're on your own, you feel you belong. When you have a problem, they're problems that you share together, not problems that you have to shoulder all by yourself. That your lessons are not just your lessons, but they're lessons, curriculum that you plan together, think about together. So a sense of collegiality and community amongst the teachers, good relationships really matter. Teachers have negative emotions when they're experiencing bad relationships, when other teachers complain about them or parents complain about them, when the administrator is not supporting them, but getting in the way of what teachers really feel is important. Or no relationships, when there really is no teacher community, when teachers are on their own all the time, when it's not just new teachers who feel like they're abandoned, but in a way all teachers feel like they're abandoned. So the second thing to make teaching feel really engaging is that teachers feel that they belong. They belong to something that's important, that matters, and that has purpose for them. And the third one is power. So that's purpose, relationships, and power. Because power is not about power and glory. It's not about exercising power over people. It's not being a mean tyrant to your students so that they're afraid of you all the time. It's power to rather than power over. It's power to pursue the things that matter with your kids. It's power to have a voice in where the school is going, what direction it is taking, what the curriculum should look like, how you can solve problems with difficult students together, not to feel that you have to do these all by yourself. Power to have a bit of autonomy and discretion, not individual autonomy, do what you like, whether it's good or bad, or connects or doesn't connect with what the rest of the school is doing, but power together to create a curriculum, lessons, units of work that really get the children engaged, and that when there's a success, it's not just your success, it's our success, because teachers have had a voice together. So in these few minutes, when we're thinking about empowerment, I'm trying to draw your attention to one of the things that makes great teachers and great teaching is not just the behaviour of being skilled and expert, which is important, not just the cognitive and intellectual side of teaching, knowing your subject matter and knowing the best ways to teach, but it's also the emotional side of teaching, and that depends on three things: purposes that matter and that are important for the children in a world that's falling apart, and they want to have some role in trying to change for the better. And in the teachers too, that they are teaching things that matter in ways that draw on their best skills and talents. Good relationships with kids, with parents, with colleagues, with administrators, rather than bad relationships or no relationships. And that feeling of empowerment, not power over, not control, not getting your own way with your children or with anyone else, but power to and power with and power for, exercised by colleagues together, consulting with parents, involving the children too, because they need a voice as well, so that we feel in control of what's important to us and not at the behest of other people's whims and wishes and ulterior motives. So I wish you the best on World Teachers' Day. What teachers do is you create the generations of the future. So having the purpose, having the power, and doing it with good relationships are three of the best things that you can pay attention to. Bye-bye.